Hey guys, Jumping Robot here, and welcome to my Richtofen boss fight guide in the new zombies map, Reckoning. This is the guide where you choose to side with Sam and you have to fight Richtofen. If you're looking for the guide for fighting Sam after siding with Richtofen, I'll link that on the card on the screen and in the description below. The Richtofen fight is much harder than Sam, so be prepared to fail a few times and don't get discouraged. First things first, you should have triple pack and legendary on all your guns, maxed out armor and all your perks. For the loadout, I recommend you use the AMR with the 3x scope, extended mags, rapid fire, and any attachments that will increase your ADS speed and movement speed. Put cryo freeze on it, as that's what uber Klauses are weak to and they spawn during the fight. Your second weapon should be for just clearing hordes of zombies. I used the blue Gorg effects and it worked pretty well, but you can use something else. For equipment, use Casimirs, as they can give you some much needed breathing room during the second phase. You can also use stims to give you a health boost when you get hit in the second phase, as some of the attacks are pretty bullshit. Just kind of go with either one of them. For augments, you should use equivalent exchange on quick revive instead of dying wish, because for some reason Richtofen's attacks don't trigger it. Whether there's a bug or a feature, I'm not sure, but if that changes, I'll leave that down in the pinned comment, because obviously dying wish would be much better to have if it worked. For speed cola in your major augment slot, use classic formula. For juggernog, use probiotic and hardened plates, as the extra health and damage reduction is a must have. For PhD, either use Dr. Ram or PhD slider as your major augment, then use tribologist as your minor augment. This helps you just get away from Richtofen much faster in both of his phases, as you want to keep as much distance as possible. For stamina up, use Dasher and hard target for movement speed and damage reduction, and for double tap, use double standard and double or nothing, as you're not really going to be hitting Richtofen's head a lot, so this will basically just double your damage. For your field upgrade, you should run Ether Shroud with the extension augment, as the extra charge doesn't give you enough time to deal a lot of damage to Richtofen, and if you use anything that gives you a full power, it only gives you one of the shorter charges rather than one of the really long charges. For Gobblegums, I recommend bringing Powder Keg for another charge of your Ether Shroud. You can also run Raindrops, as that gives you another free power, but keep that as a backup if you need it. Running Arsenal Accelerator is also an option for some of the breaks in the second phase to recharge your Ether Shroud. Taking a Perkaholic into the fight if you have any spare can be a good idea, because if you go down, you'll have a lot harder of a time fighting him without the movement speed and damage buffs that your perks are giving you. It's not necessary, but it might help. Do not use Idolize during this fight, as it's completely useless, because Richtofen can still target you when you have it active, so you will just get attacked and you don't want to waste any of your Gobblegum spaces. If you do have a Gobblegum space left, shields up can be pretty good, as armor plates can be pretty hard to come by during certain phases. For specialists, I recommend using Mutant Injection, as none of the other specialists will deal much damage, and Mutant Injection gives you a safety net if you're about to down. Before going into the boss fight, place a C4 or a few C4s on top of this tank and mutant development, as this will trigger the free full power that's nearby. You should only activate this during the second phase of Richtofen's fight, as using Ether Shroud is going to be your main way to deal a lot of damage to him. Before we get into the fight, there's a cheese that you can do to re-attempt to fight without redoing the entire Easter egg if you fail. To do this, all you need to do is save and quit the game, then come back into the match and you'll be on the map again. You will lose a self-revive if you have used one, so you'll need to rebuy one going back in. I only recommend doing this if you've downed and don't think you can complete the rest of the fight without all your perks, as you do need to be alive and full HP to save and quit. This can spawn you back into the map with no zombies, so if you don't have enough salvage to buy another self-revive, you could technically grind zombies in one of the elevators, as there is a crafting bench on one of the floors when you're going up. Once you have your setup ready, you can head into the portal and begin the boss fight. After siding with Sam, the elevator will rise up and a wave of bomber Klauses will drop down. You can shoot them while they're still up in the air and dropping down, but they're not much of a problem. Once you get to the first floor, there are 3 soul boxes you have to fill. Just use the Papped Wonder Weapon's charge shot and you will fill them up pretty easily. Once you've filled up the 3 soul boxes, head back to the elevator and it will automatically head up to the second floor. On this floor, there will be zombies spawning, as well as 2 groups of exploding Klauses. I recommend taking out the Klauses first, then heading into the floor. What you need to do on this floor is shoot and destroy the crystals on the pipes on the wall. They are pretty clear to see, so this shouldn't really be a problem. Once you've shot all the crystals, head back to the elevator and it will take you to the roof where the boss fight begins. When the roof opens up, you'll hear Richtofen speak from one of the directions, and if you have headphones you can obviously hear which direction this is, and if you're fast enough you can get a few shots off on his shoulder pads, or even maybe break one of them before he jumps down. In this phase he has the same moveset as regular Uberklaus, with the punch if you get too close, the shock wall launcher and the jump towards the player. It's just these attacks deal much more damage when coming from Richtofen. In this phase it's best to keep your distance and chip away at his shoulder plates, then go for the head of the suit for maximum damage. To counter his body slam, just keep your distance, and when you see him charging it up, run or slide to get out of the way. He does do this quite a lot because he's a lot more aggressive than the regular Klauses. To counter the punch, just keep your distance and he won't be able to do it. For the shock ball launcher, you should ideally be pretty far away from him already, and you'll be able to see the trajectory of each of the balls so you can dodge them. These do a lot of damage if they hit you, and then smaller amounts if you walk into them after they've landed. I recommend running around the outside of the middle area of the arena, not quite at the edge though, and as you're running around, keep as much distance between you and Richtofen, so he should ideally be at the other side of the middle. As you see him approaching, spray into his shoulders or his head if you've destroyed the shoulders to deal a load of damage. At certain points throughout his health bar, he will spawn in waves of exploding Klauses, commando Klauses, and at one point an Uberklaus. When this happens, swap to your Gorg effects, as this has pretty good hip fire accuracy, so you can take out the exploding Klauses with the uncharged shot and the commando Klauses with the charged shot from the Gorg effects, and you'll be able to do this while sprinting to keep your distance from Richtofen. When he spawns the Uberklaus, try and take out the exploding Klauses and the commander Klauses first, then focus on Uberklaus, then once he's dead, go back to dealing damage to Uber Richtofen. Once you've dealt enough damage to Uber Richtofen to fully deplete his health bar, you will fly out with a jetpack and drop a nuke on you, so when you're about to kill him, make sure you stay away from him, as this can one-shot you. For the Richtofen jetpack phase, you should also keep your distance as much as possible. Richtofen has a few attacks he can do in this phase. He'll use his Wunderwaffe to shoot you, which if he can hit you multiple times because you're out in the open, will stun lock you and kill you. So when he's using his Wunderwaffe, you should lead him around the same area of the arena as you were training before, and peek the corner that he's going to be coming around to get a few shots off for chip damage, and try not to face him head on. If he ever gets you very low health and you're in a dangerous spot where there's no walls to prevent him from shooting you, or there's zombies nearby that'll hit you and kill you, use your mutant injection. You won't get much if any damage on him, but it will save you losing all of your perks. He also has another attack where he'll launch up into the air and send rockets down to come and hit you. When he does this, he will drop a bomb, similar to when you got him into the phase. If you look up, you can see where these are going to land, and you can also see on the ground red circles slightly, but they're not the best way to go. Once you see them coming down in an area, just get out of there and they won't hit you. He also has an attack where he'll carpet bomb rows of the arena. You can get some shots off on him in this phase, but watch out as he can quickly swap back to his Wunderwaffe and that will just absolutely melt you. This is where you want to abuse the PhD slide to increase distance and speed, as it will create a safe gap between you and him, as he is very fast and aggressive during this attack. During all of these, he will drop shock charge and blast traps around the arena, so be careful about running into them. If you slide through a blast trap, you can be fast enough to activate it without getting hit. He can also throw concussions during some of his attacks, but if you keep your distance, this won't be too much of an issue. He also does throw Molotovs, which deal absolutely crazy amounts of damage, but he seems to only do this after you've dealt enough damage for him to leave and come back. But I would still watch out for this just in case he can do it in the first phase, and I didn't have that happen in any of my runs. The point where you're going to be getting most of your damage is when you have an Ether Shroud charge. If you activate it when he's close to the building that he jumps off in the start of the fight, as it seems the area he goes to when he can't target you is up there. Once you have Ether Shroud active, run up and spray him with your AMR. His head and jetpack do take extra damage, but I'd only go for body shots, or if you're behind him you can get the extra damage from his jetpack. You can go through an entire phase in just a single Ether Shroud, but if not, just use the strategy I mentioned previously to whittle his health down. Once you've dealt enough damage, you will fly up like he's going to do his rocket strike attack, but his health bar will disappear. At this point, a bunch of zombies will spawn, and this is the best time to recharge your Ether Shroud. You might not be able to fully recharge it, but getting a significant amount charged does help, because you can still recharge it by killing the odd zombie when Richtofen comes back. If you have Arsenal Accelerator, these zombie only phases are the best time to activate it. When Richtofen comes back, return to running around the middle and abusing the slide to make as much room as possible and getting chip damage in. You still want a majority of your damage coming from when you have Ether Shroud active, as it's the safest time to unload your bullets into him. Assuming you used a charge that you had built up for Ether Shroud in the previous phase and he's getting very aggressive, keep in mind that you can just activate the C4 and that will spawn a full power on you, or use a gobble gun for one if you haven't managed to charge up your Ether Shroud and you need it. Keep in mind that this will take longer than just activating your Ether Shroud, so don't leave it to the very last second and try and do it behind cover. You just need to rinse and repeat the method I've outlined above, keep your distance and abuse the fuck out of Ether Shroud. He will leave and come back once you've dealt enough damage again, so watch out for that because again he drops the bomb. After you've dealt enough damage to him, you will kill him and you will have beat the Richtofen boss fight in Reckoning and the cutscene will play. If you're looking for the boss fight guide and the Sam fight, it will be the first link in the description. If I've missed anything or they update anything within the fight, hopefully they fix the dying wish thing if it's a bug, I'll put that in the pinned comment, and if there's anything that's changed that isn't in the pinned comment, make sure to leave that in the comment so I can see and update that so people get the best information possible. If this guide was anywhat helpful, you can show your support by liking and subscribing, as that helps me out. If there's any other videos you just want to see, make sure to let me know by leaving in the comments below. Thank you for watching. This has been Jumping Robot. See ya.